So yes, so these people open up their homes and they go through the childcare licensing process, and then they offer childcare as their business in their homes. So moms and dads can go to work and have a peace of mind that they're safely taken care of and that it's a good place, right? That's a huge responsibility as being a childcare provider. And those moms and dads need to know that you're the next best thing when they can't be there. It's that feeling. And childcare providers attach themselves to these families too. You know, they build that relationship, and it lasts a lifetime.
Welcome to the Weld Together podcast, brought to you by United Way of Weld County, where we share stories about what's possible when people in a community come together for good. I'm your host, Diana Smith. I'm so excited to welcome Jane Martin. She's the Child Care Coordinator for Early Childhood Care and Education at United Way of Weld County. Jane, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, one thing that we like to ask all of our guests on the podcast is, what is in your cup at the moment? Do you have a beverage or a favorite beverage that you have with you right now?
I do. It's coffee.
You're among friends?
Yes, I thought so. I have 2 to 3 cups a day to get me started, and I have a new passion with coffee, and whether that is good for me or not, I'm not sure, but I enjoy it, and it puts a smile on my face in the morning and gets me ready for my day.
So tell us, how did you come to live in Weld County?
I've been in Weld County my entire life.
Tell me a little bit about what it was like growing up in Weld County. I'm curious, what was it like for you? What are some of your childhood memories of growing up in Weld County?
Small town atmosphere. At that time, Fort Lupton was a small community, and you walked to school every day and didn't think about it. And you rode your bike all over town just for something to do. And you spent the majority of your time playing in your backyard. And there were parades and homecoming activities and just a small town atmosphere. Everybody knew everybody, and which has its good points and not good points, but it was just nice. It was safe and secure. And my grandmother lived across the street from us, like 2 houses down. And so I grew up with my grandmother next door.
How special that you got to live so close to your grandmother.
It was amazing. It was very fortunate.
Yeah. So you are the Child Care Coordinator at United Way of Weld County.
I am in the early education and care department.
Well, I think it's important for listeners who may just be getting to know United Way of Weld County that we do have these focus areas. Early childhood is one of those focus areas because those early years of a child's life are so formative, not just for the years in which they are little children or even infants, not only in the years that they are older children, but for the rest of their lives. Is that the way that you would say it?
I would. It does start at infancy, and then it grows from there, right? So children need that solid foundation from the beginning. 0 to 3 are the most formative years for their brain development. So having quality, consistent care is so very, very important as they move on to school and throughout their school years, and they build their path towards their future. They just need that strong foundation.
What does your job entail? Tell us a little bit about what is your role within United Way?
My role is to support licensed family child care providers who have businesses in their home, as well as centers or preschools. Also, a big part of my job is recruiting new family child care providers. Recruitment and support for licensed child care providers is basically what I do, as well as collect data with any trends that might be happening in the ECE world.
This is really a conversation for all of us because it has so many different layers to it. I think all of us know that there are child care centers where you have licensed practitioners. They're in a building, and that's where you drop your child off. But then there's, as you're saying, there are also in-home child care providers. So these are people who opt to actually offer childcare out of their homes.
Yes, you're the business owner, right, of their childcare in their home. The state of Colorado licenses their home to be safe, right? To make sure they
Mm,
meet the rules and regulations set to keep children safe and provide the best care that is possible. And so, yes, so these people open up their homes and they go through the childcare licensing process, and then they offer childcare as their business in their homes
mm,
and take care of children. So moms and dads can go to work and have a peace of mind that they're safely taken care of and that it's a good place,
mm,
right? That's a huge responsibility as being a childcare provider. And that is, it's just those moms and dads need to know that you're the next best thing when they can't
mm,
be there. It's that
mm.
feeling. And childcare providers attach themselves to these families too. They build that relationship through communication and support of the families as well as for the children, right? You work with
Mm.
moms and dads and as a team to what's best for the child. And you just build that relationship and it lasts a lifetime.
You have a very close understanding of what this entails because you yourself were a child care provider from your home.
I was. I
Yeah.
was until about 2.5 years ago. I had a in-home childcare business. When our youngest son was born, I myself was looking for childcare because I worked, I had a job and a different career. And then in our area where we lived, there wasn't availability for a place to take an infant that would take a newborn. So that was a challenge. And I just remember an amazing childcare provider in our area. She put me on a wait list
Mm,
and she actually called me back, right? I gave her a deadline, like when I had to know, and she called me back and she said, "I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to take your son." And I was kind of panicked. And
mm,
she said, "But have you ever thought about opening a childcare business in your own home?"
mm.
Um, but at that time, we called them daycares, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
why don't you open a daycare in your own home so you can stay home with your child and provide care for other people? So I
Mm,
wasn't quite sure that was the route I wanted to go down exactly. And then the more I thought about it, the more it made sense, right? That I could be home with my child and have an income for my family, get to know other people in the community by taking their children. And also, even then, the cost of childcare was to me at that time a lot for what our income was at that time. And so we had to make that choice also. Do I work 40 hours a week and pay someone else to watch our child and bring home $200 to $300 a
mm,
month
mm,
profit a
mm,
month? And so, anyways, so I took that leap of faith, right? I took the leap of faith that I could do it and
mm.
gave my notice and stayed home and started taking children. And then it just snowballed. And when I closed my business, it had been 30 years, right at 30 years
Wow.
that I had been a licensed
Wow.
childcare provider from my home.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so that's kind of how it all started.
30 years, that is just incredible. I imagine that the choice to start caring for children out of your home was not a quick or maybe easy decision.
I had originally gone to the University of Northern Colorado to be a middle school teacher. So I
Mm,
always knew that I wanted a career in something with children, whether it was teaching. And then when I had a child of my own, it was with little people. And maybe in my heart, that was my calling. But I also had to have the support of my husband, right? Bringing other people into our home every day. And they're in your home, right? I mean, they're in your home. They were in our basement. We lived in a ranch style home at the time, and they were in our basement and they were upstairs. And I had one of the bedrooms as an infant room that so I could take care of my infant and one other infant. And so it is your whole home. You do literally
mm.
invite people to come into your home. And so you definitely have to have the support of your own family to make it work.
What kinds of preparations did you have to do in order to transition your home?
Well, fortunately, with having a ranch style home, a
Mm,
toy
mm,
room, right? And
mm,
so it was already there. That space was there. And we just had to add the toys and the equipment and the safety items. And I was lucky enough to have my basement to do that. And then as well as my upstairs living area when I was up there cooking and preparing snacks and we would eat upstairs and whatnot. So it was a transition and I didn't start out with a whole lot of items or toys for the
mm.
children.
Did you know what you needed to get in order to equip your home for this?
I didn't at that time. When I think back about the support that we give people who are going through the childcare licensing process now, there wasn't a list of how many books you
Mm,
needed or manipulatives or gross motor or fine motor blocks and art equipment and whatnot. That wasn't spelled out like it is now,
mm.
per se. So a lot of it was, toys. You just build it as you go. And I love art and crafting and cutting and getting messy. And so that was easy for me. When you're a childcare provider in your own home, you become a very resourceful person. It's a lot of creativity and being resourceful with items in your own home.
I'm curious, how many children would you tend to have in your care at any time?
Six children. I had a
Okay.
small license at that time. Infant to most of the time first or second grade, but the
Mm.
majority of the kids that stayed with me all day would range from infant to till they were ready to go to kindergarten.
And you had mentioned too that care providers will often create relationships and bonds with the families and the parents. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so you have to work together as a team, right? Because your first and foremost reason you're there is for the child. You want to
Mm,
provide the best atmosphere for them, and parents are actually the ultimate first teacher of their children. So you want to work together as a team to make sure
mm,
you're on the same page. What's best for the child and respect
mm,
families, values, and what they do at home. So
mm.
communication is a big piece to build and maintain a relationship and trusting and understanding. And so those families feel safe talking to you and
I
when they're
imagine that could pose some challenges as well. What were some of the challenges that you faced as a care provider out of your home?
late, you have families and everybody has their circumstances that would push the limit of pickup at the end
Mm,
of the day,
mm,
right? I was always very understanding and tried to be as flexible as possible to a point. But there comes a certain point too that you realize that possibly a family is just taking a little more advantage of you than what
mm,
they should. So that was kind of not a great thing. The late pickup and also non-payment, which I totally understand too. And I was very flexible. I did have families who would leave and never pay or never catch up.
wow.
And you just learn from that. And luckily I had my husband who also had a job and an income. So I was fortunate in that respect. So you have to have that hard talk and that uncomfortable talk with families because you do build a relationship with them. So sometimes that's a very hard subject to approach. But then I have to look out for my own family as well. So those were probably the two biggest barriers
Hmm.
at that time.
You are running a business, but this is a business that is centered on care and relationships, and as you said, communication. I imagine that that had to have its own challenges to do the business side of things and make sure that the business is taken care of as well as the actual people that you're caring for. But I'm curious about your experience being both a business owner and a child care provider.
That is very interesting. When I first started out as in-home childcare provider, it didn't often look at what they were doing as business. You were doing daycare, right?
Mm,
Daycare, you were getting paid to do it. That was your income, but it wasn't necessarily your business. It's just what you were doing. I didn't really see the business aspect of it until I went to Ames Community College and started taking courses in early childhood education. I knew this is what I wanted to do, but I just needed to know more. I needed to know how I could provide better quality care and
mm,
separate that friendship that you build with families from the business end of it and make it all work together, right? Through contracts and parent handbooks. And so expectations were clear on both parts. And these are my hours. This is when I'm going to be
mm,
closed. This is what you provide. This is what I provide. And so
mm,
it was a give and take. And it was a learning experience with
mm.
bumps and hiccups along the road, but definitely taking more professional development at Ames Community College and through childcare conferences to learn all I could about
Mm,
being a childcare provider. So
mm, hmm. That's amazing. It's just such a commitment, isn't it? On so many different levels, you're giving so much of yourself to do this kind of work.
You do. You wear many hats, right? When you're
Mm,
home and with family child care providers who are at home, you're it, right? From
hmm
the time that you take those kids until those kids are picked up, you're by yourself, right? So you get everything ready in the morning and then you fix the meals and you fix the snacks and you change the diapers and you provide the care and you try to have some kind of curriculum or sense of routine for the children so that you know what's coming next. But then, you work your 50 hours a week on an average. But then on the weekends, you're doing the shopping and you're doing the cleaning and
mm,
sanitizing and getting your home ready again for
mm,
Monday when you have children. It's
mm,
a big commitment. I never saw it as a job per se. It was what I love to do and I
mm,
take care of children and be able to stay home with my own and provide that care for other parents. And so I never really saw it as a job.
The Weld Together podcast is brought to you by United Way of Weld County, building powerful partnerships to bring about lasting community-wide change. Learn more at www.unitedway-weld.org.
What were some of the joys of doing that?
Oh, there were many joys. That's what keeps you going. That's what gets you up every day, right? The non-payment or the late pickup or maybe the grumpy parent when you forgot to put the bib on the child and they have lunch and snacks at the end of the day on their clothes. And then once they're gone and you have family time with your own family and you go to bed and get a good night's sleep and wake up and you do it again the next morning.
Mm,
Every day is a new day. I always approached it as every day is a new day and you forget what happened the day before. And that these children come to you and they're usually happy and spark full of joy, or it's hard leaving mom and dad. So you may have some that cry, but they
mm,
soon get over that. And so those are joys to see them first
mm,
thing in the morning and then to spend the day with them and see how they grow, continuity of
mm,
care. I mean, you can get them when they're 6 to 8 weeks old and you have them all the way through kindergarten, right? You have them 5 days a week,
mm,
12 months out of the year. And then you just grow that relationship with them, right? And you're just so attached
mm,
to them. And so it's the growth of the child and helping the children who may have a challenge of leaving their moms and dads or to build that relationship with that child and have that bond and help to teach them life lessons, right? Like little
mm,
things like tying their shoes and cutting paper and washing their hands. And it's the everyday little things as
mm,
well as the milestones
mm,
that bring you joy. And then watching them grow up and go off to kindergarten is always a sad time. But usually by the time they are ready to go to kindergarten, they're ready. And
mm.
then I kind of knew I had done my job. As hard as
Yeah.
it was for me to let them
Mm.
go, I'm not all that they needed anymore. And then I felt good about what I had done with them.
As you should. Wow. And for me, it's also really special because my mother faced the same challenge when she had me. She was a flight attendant when I was born. And that's not something that
Okay.
you can keep doing with an infant. And
Right. Oh, that's challenging for sure.
yeah. And so she had to find work, and she faced the same question that I know so many mothers face today still, which is, do I work and then apply most of my salary to childcare? It's the question that is still facing parents today. What is the right picture of care for our child and our work life and our family life? And it's all intertwined, right? And
Yes. Yes, it is.
my mom also realized that she wouldn't be able to actually get a job that would allow her to afford childcare. So that prompted her to start a business out of her own house.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, so she had the same
Oh,
thinking. Well, I can work from home and then I can care for my child. And what ended up happening, which was just so lovely, is that we happened to live on a cul-de-sac. And in the middle of that cul-de-sac was a woman who offered in-home childcare.
oh, nice.
When we moved to the neighborhood, she said, "Oh, well, just let Diana come over. I've got kids at the house and it'll be great for her. I'm an only child, so it was really good for me to get that exposure and that time with other children." So I actually also spent a lot of my days in an in-home care provider's house.
Very nice.
And I have so many good memories of being in that house as a little girl, all the ways that her name was Janet Miller. She was absolutely fantastic. And the way that she cared for the space and for us, there were so many really important seeds that were planted from that experience for me. And one of them actually was reading, because I wasn't in kindergarten yet. I didn't know how to read. There was a speak and spell machine.
Okay, okay.
Do you remember those?
I do. I
Yeah.
do.
And I really was just fascinated by words, and I wanted to be able to write, but I couldn't even read. And Janet actually saw that in me. And she said, Diana, why don't you come and sit next to me on the sofa? She just took a few minutes. She opened up a Dr. Seuss book and she started to teach me how to read. And it just opened up the world for me. I was so excited, and that began for me what is still a journey. I'm a writer. I help people with their books. I do writing for United Way. So I'm curious if you followed any of the children who were in your care, or if you ever connected with them, or if you ever got to see some of the long-term benefits of offering that care.
I have. That's one of the joys of doing what I had done all the years. Is recently I went to one of my children that I care for when I first started my business, who got married. Right? And I was invited to their wedding, went to her bridal shower and whatnot. So she had originally gone to UNC to be a teacher, right? She wanted to teach little people and eventually become a family childcare provider in her home.
Wow.
She's not yet a family childcare provider. They don't have children of their own, but I definitely foresee that in her future when that does occur. And she just has great memories of being with me and in the kids. Teacher Jane, remember when we dug big holes in the playground and filled them with water so we could play in the mud before mud kitchens, as they call them now? We were already doing that, right? Or running through the sprinklers and having popsicles in the summer and just activities like that. Those are the memories. And I had a kitchen play set that I've hung on to still. And she asked me at her bridal shower if she could have that. And so it's a memory that she carries with her, excuse me. And so it's just great to know you made that connection all these years. It's just a testament to what we do as family childcare home providers. Having that same person in your life year after year after year after year, and building that your home becomes their home.
And so now you, from United Way of Weld County, you now help women like you get licensed to host childcare in their house.
Right.
How amazing is that?
I know, right?
What is that like for you now, helping other women walk the path or a similar path to what you walked?
Well, the path now is definitely a lot more difficult than it was 30 years ago. It's fun to go through it with them from the very first step of meeting them through a Zoom call, or meeting in person, to their application and all their trainings and things that they have to do to become a childcare professional. And then when they're ready for that inspection, we are able to go out and go through their home with them and help them get set up. Right. So they're super nervous, like, oh, am I going to pass? Is it good enough? Is it not good enough? So having been there so many different times, I feel like I'm able to go in and help calm those nerves a little bit, to answer those questions, to reassure them that it's going to be okay. Because your licensing specialist is there to see all the wonderful things that you're doing. They're looking for all those positive, great things that you're doing, and to make suggestions that perhaps it could work a little differently too. Safety is the first priority, right? We want those children to be safe. And so it's fun to go in and see their homes and, oh, what could I do in this area? Or what do you think about setting the cozy corner here? Or, what about the water tables? And so it's just fun to go in there and their homes and see what they're so proud of. and what they've worked so hard for. And then once they pass their inspection and they're open, you can just hear it in their voices. And they're so grateful and so thankful that United Way has been able to help them through this journey. So it is quite a self-fulfilling reward in my eyes to get them open and to help them. You have to have the passion to do what we do, right? You have to have the passion to want to help and to serve these providers and provide assistance and all that we do to help them through the licensing process. So it's very rewarding to to see them get open. And sometimes the process goes quickly for some, and then others it takes a while. And we have a family that are be opening up their childcare home, but it's been like a 1.5 year process for our other navigator. And so this morning when I came into work, she said, we heard from this childcare provider, and it's been a long time coming, but I'm doing a walkthrough in March, which means they're getting ready to get licensed sometime in March. And so just to see the excitement on her face and to be able to finally get that accomplished, and her dedication and persistence with them and support is amazing. And so once they get licensed, it's just an amazing feeling.
What is one thing that you wish everybody knew about in-home childcare?
It's a tough job with huge responsibilities, providing safe, quality care for children. It's tough, and you wear many different hats, but it's very fulfilling, and it's one of the most rewarding professions that are out there. And I wish they knew how important the continuity of care is for children, and that licensed childcare providers, and they're continually taking training and professional development and having to keep up on rules and regulations. It's a lot that goes with it, just not providing care for the children. It's a lot. And to do it well and to be successful and not to get burnt out, and to build those relationships so that it keeps you getting up every morning.
It's just remarkable. Thank you, Jane, so much for sharing this with us and just giving us a window into what life is like as a childcare provider and your experience. It really feels like this conversation just kind of cracked the door open a little bit for us to get an inside look into someone's home. The nuances and the complexities and the wonderful parts of that, and how they're all tied together. It's just such important work.
It is very important work, and there's just no other way to say that. But I thought back when I first became licensed as a childcare provider, those first years or whatnot, I didn't often feel like I had the support that maybe childcare providers have now. And that is, especially with the licensing process, United Way offers such great support for them to go through the licensing process, and they call for whatever, the littlest things. So I'm very happy that we can build that relationship with them and give them a safe place to call there. And so I feel very fortunate that United Way is here to help them through that, and that we can do what we do every day.
And if somebody were listening and they thought, ooh, I think maybe I want to open childcare out of my house, what would be the first step?
They could contact us here at United Way. They could contact myself. We have another English speaking navigator, and then our Spanish navigator also could help them to start that process.
Excellent.
They can call the front desk, and then they direct their calls back to us. They can look for our flyers out in the community. They could go to the United Way website, and it would direct them to a site to fill out a request form for information, and then we contact them. That's what we're there for. We will give them all the information that we feel they need to get started without overwhelming them and scaring them off, as we say. We give them enough information, and then they're always welcome to attend one of our monthly orientations via Zoom or in person. And we also meet people who are interested and want to receive information through phone calls. We are very flexible on how we can meet them and provide the information that they are seeking, and share the many benefits of becoming a licensed childcare provider in your home, and the numerous benefits, and how United Way can help them through that process also. So yeah, we're there for them. Whatever questions they have, we're here to support them.
That's so amazing. It really is just amazing. Well, Jane, thank you so much. We have one more question that we like to ask, and that is, what fills your cup? What is keeping you going right now?
Keeping me going. Being able to support licensed family childcare providers who are already licensed, right? We support them as well. I'm offering professional development, and sometimes they just need someone to visit with. So connecting with licensed childcare providers fill my cup, as well as just working through the licensing process with these providers and overcoming barriers that they encounter along the way, and just to get them open and to see their faces and the thrill and the passion, and know that I helped them do that along the way, that I was a helping hand and a support for them. That fills my cup. I get to fill my cup with holding the babies or playing with the toddler. That's like my favorite part. And then I have to remind myself, oh yeah, I'm there to do a walkthrough, not just to play with the kids that are there. So,
I love that.
And that fills my cup also from different aspects. And so, so it's the whole process that, and even the frustrating parts. I just tend to have a tendency to want to just think about the outcome for families and for children.
We're so glad that it does and that you do.
And
for you sharing. Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't mean to. Got a little emotional, but it's just it's the passion and the good memories. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and asking me these questions about what I did, the importance of what I did, and I just feel very valued by that. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I just feel so special that I got to have this conversation with you. So thank you so much, Jane. It's just been really good to talk with you. Join the caring power of the United Way of Weld County community. Visit unitedway-weld.org, where you can learn more about our projects, find great volunteer opportunities, and donate. Special thanks to our cornerstone partners, our leadership givers, and the many individuals who make our work and this podcast possible. The music you heard today is by Alex Productions. I'm Diana Smith, your host. Thank you again for listening to the Weld Together podcast. And until next time, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and remember, even a little good can go a very long way.